Hello everyone, welcome to my latest video. This week I want to say a special hello to everybody at the Aldgate School, which is my school. I'm the art teacher there, and I want to say an even more special hello to all the people who I've never met before from all the other schools which I've not yet come to see. The reason I'm saying this video or making this video for you is because we're all going to be involved in a special art project. And it's going to be called #Mood. It's going to be really good, it's going to be really exciting, and it's a real pleasure to be working with other people in these strange times. Usually, if we were going to be doing this, I would come to your schools, I would come and see you all, and I would be able to teach these lessons to you in person, but obviously I can't do that at the moment. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing this particular project. It's called #Mood because we're going to start by thinking about how we feel and how this lockdown has made us feel, how this virus has made us feel, and reflecting on that. It's quite interesting because I'm making this video and it's actually Mental Health Week this week, and being aware of how you feel about something and being aware of your emotions is a really important part of your keeping good mental health and staying healthy in your mind. So the first task we're going to do is going to have a think. The second part, we're going to be doing some word art and making some, using letters and forming letters. And I'll put all these videos together in a little playlist so you know what to do, and so you can also go back into them and watch them again if you need to. The first challenge that we need to think about is how we have been feeling and what a mood is. So is a mood just an emotion, or is it a state of mind? I know that sometimes I get into weekend sort of mood, and weekend moods, I'm very relaxed, I'm very chilled out, I do things at a slower pace. I know that when I'm at work, I'm in a different kind of mood, I'm in a get it done kind of a mood. So I think moods don't just have to be emotions. They can just be as simple as emotion. I could feel sad, I could feel happy. Today when I came into work to make this video, I got very wet, so I was very wet and I was not particularly happy. What I think I'd like you to do first is to have a bit of a brainstorm. I know that in my school, the children have had a brainstorm on their Google Classroom, and they put all the different hashtags of how they feel. I've had a quick whiz through of some, and I've done them on my list here, so I don't know if you can see that or not, but I've started off and I've got #up, sometimes you feel up, #down, sometimes you feel down. I have at some point felt #confused. I felt #challenged, #sleepy, quite a lot of that. Sometimes I felt rubbish, #rubbish. But I think it's important you have a little think for yourself and see if you can think of some words that sum up your mood to begin with. Try to write them in capital letters, because when we go on to do our next piece, capital letters are easier to work with. Alright, so pause the video now, have a little think, and then write a list of different things that sum up your mood. You should now have a list of about 10 words, maybe more, maybe less. What I found from looking through the Google Classroom in my school is there's some fantastic words out there. Things like strange, #strange, confused, #confused. I think a lot of people have felt that. #bored, a lot of people have felt bored. #stuck was one that came up quite a lot. There's also things about feeling optimistic about what's happening as well, which I know is hard to do sometimes, but I've got #blessed. Some people feeling very blessed at home and having their family around them. There's #hopeful, which I thought was quite good. #longing, I like that one a lot. I sort of do long for things to change quite, well, hopefully soon. Also, the other thing that came through it were phrases, so things like #stay at home, or #nobody can stop us, #all in this together, and I think they are fantastic as well. So in a minute I'm going to show you two methods to transfer these hashtags into word art. But before you get to that point, you need to have a little think about what words you've got, because we don't just want to do a piece of artwork that is beautiful letters and that's it. I want you to try and link the word that you've chosen with a visuals in some sort. So in other words, if you have hashtag stuck, how are you going to make those letters look stuck? If you feel blessed, hashtag blessed, how are you going to make those letters appear as if they are blessing you or being blessed? If you are distanced, how can you make those letters look like they are distanced? Or get across that idea of being at a distance to other people. So that's a bit tricky, and you might have to let some of your ideas go, or rethink some of your other ones. Right, so we're ready to begin. I'm going to show you how to do the outlines in this video, and then in the next one I'll go through some colouring methods. So what you need for this is you need a pencil, you need a decent rubber, and you need a pen. I'm going to use a Sharpie because they're permanent, and that means that if I use something with water in it or I try and use felt tips, they won't bleed together. But obviously if you are using a Sharpie, make sure you've got something on your table so that you don't get horrible Sharpie marks on your table. It would not be a good idea. The other thing you need is a piece of paper. Obviously, if you're writing a word is longer than it is high, so you need something that's landscape. But I don't think this is particularly good. I'm going to actually cut that in half so that I have something which is half the size. As you can see there, that's much better for a word. Because this is a video as well, I'm going to use a bigger piece of paper. I'm going to use one of these A3 sheets like this, half of an A3 sheet. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the outline method. The outline method is an easier method, but it can be a little bit clumsy at times. But it's an easy method to use, so I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to do a word, I'm going to do hashtag mood, because that's the name of this project, and because it's a good place to start. So I'm going to start with my hashtag. I'm pressing really lightly, and the reason I'm pressing lightly is because I want to rub this out later on. And if I press really hard, I'll always end up with like a channel that my pencil has made. The other thing is my pencil isn't very sharp. Don't over sharpen your pencils. You don't need to have it to such a fine point that you'd hurt someone if you poke them with it. If it's nice and rounded on the end, you get a softer line, which is really good. So mood. I'm going to write mood. I'm going to make sure that my letters fill the page. I don't want to do mood down here, or in this corner here. It needs to be the whole thing over, the whole space. Fill the whole space up. So just to help me, I'm going to write hashtag mood again lightly because I don't want that on my final piece. Just so I can check my spelling. Hashtag mood. M-O-O-D. Good stuff. So there's my basic word. I know it might be hard for you to see, but it is actually there. So the outline method is as it says. You just go around the outside. If I start with my M, I'm going to make sure that that line that I've drawn is in the middle of what I'm going around. There we go. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake or anything like that because I'm going to rub it out and because I've pressed lightly. So O. And this is a point again, you have to remember that that line is going to be in the middle. Also, if you are decorating your letters, if you've got lots of space inside your letters, it's great. It means you've got more room to decorate and more room to make it look fantastic. So O-O-D. There we go. So there's my outline. The last thing I'm going to do is my hashtag. Hashtags are a bit tricky to do outlines, so I'm just going to do some rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so there's my outline. I've done all that, that's great. I'm going to get my Sharpie out. I'm going to go around it. Now, one thing that is important is where you put your letters on the page. You can have them slightly overlapping if you want. You need to make sure that the gap between them is the same. If it's not, then it's confusing. And the distance between your letters it's actually got a proper name. It's called a kerning. And to give you an example, if I write the word legend, you all can see that says legend, but if I don't get the spacing right, I end up with leg end, and that's a kerning. That's a bad kerning there. So you need to make sure your letters are spaced out and they're all equal, so it's easy to read, because people need to be able to read this from a distance. So I finished that bit. I'm now going to go round the outside of my letters. So I'm going to start with my M. I've not forgotten my hashtag. I'm coming back to it in a bit. And this is the point where if your letters aren't quite right, or you see that you need to make them a bit differently, you can do that, because this is sort of the black pen is the finished result. There we go. Looking good. This pen really does make the most amazing noises. You see there, I've got my kernings the same. Same for my D at the end. Now, one thing that I also need to tell you about are these bits in the middle of letters. The hole in a letter is called a counter. And in this one, these are closed counters because they are shut. They are contained. A lot of people, when it comes to something like a D, do little circles. And that's great if that's the style you want. But a D has a straight upright at one end. So really, the inside bit should be like a miniature D as well. So there's the outside of that mood. Now I'm going to go and do my hashtag. I think actually I want to make my hashtag a little bit wider. But I need to remember that those bits are going to be, it's like it's two strokes of a pen that way, two strokes of a pen that way. So I need to make sure that that is kept accurately, otherwise it looks like a strange piece of Lego, which is not what I want. Right, so there's my hashtag mood. The last thing I need to do is rub it out. Now when you're rubbing out, don't just sit there and start going like this, because you end up with wrinkles in your page, and that's no good. You don't want it creased. Hold your paper in one place and rub away from you. Also, follow the direction of the lines that you've drawn. You can always turn your page around and keep going like this. It may seem a little bit long or a bit extra, but it's the difference between having a wrinkly piece of paper and a nice piece of paper. So there is my first word using the outline method. That's absolutely fantastic, and like I say, you get really good results. You have to be a bit careful with it, but it's great. You just need to remember to do your infills and that your letters are the right space apart. Method 1. Method 2 is actually looking a bit more at the shapes of the letters. So if I do the same, no, I'll do a different one. I'll do hashtag stay in. No, not in, put. Stay put, which is great. So again, my letters have to fill in this space. I've written it along the top, so I've got it. I know there's a space in between the Y and the P. If I was making this on a printing press, I'd have to put a piece of metal in there called a spacer. And that would make sure that my letters had the right gap between them. So, first things first, I'm going to start with my hashtag. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a very faint line like that, so that I have got like a border around the outside. I don't want to go into that border. I'm then going to start chopping this up into rectangles very faintly, so that each of my letters fits in the rectangular space. So stay put, S T A Y space P U T. S T A Y P U T. Looks pretty good, that. So this time what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking into the letters a little bit more. So for example, if you look at a T is made of two shapes. It's made of a crossbar and a stem. So when I'm drawing that, I can draw it literally as two triangles, or sorry, two rectangles. What am I talking about? Triangles. two rectangles on top of each other. Then when I go around the outside, the bit I don't want to be doing is this bit, because that will form part of the inner part of your letter, the actual letter itself. So slightly different way of doing it. I'm not going to start with the S yet. I'll come to that at the end because that's one of the trickiest letters that you can do. But I will start with the T. So the S is going to go there. T is two rectangles, as I just showed you. The A needs to fit into a triangle like that. So instead of looking at the letter as a shape in itself, you're looking at the individual shapes that make up the letter, and that's the difference. Don't forget your bar across for your S-T-A. So Y, there are lots of different ways to do Ys, but I think this one is quite a good one for this one. S-T-A-Y. I need to do my S in a minute. Put the P has a vertical stem, and then it's got a curve, and that curve should come down to the same part that your A is at. So P, like that, you see? And don't forget your counter in the middle, P. The U, I'm going to keep this simple, so I'm not going to put anything strange into it. I'm going to make it nice and easy. I'm not going to put a little flick at the bottom here, although I could do. P, U, and the T is the same again, T. Stay put. Now, before I go on and do my pen part, I'm just going to go back to the S, because the S is a bit tricky, and it's the hardest letter that you'll do. If I mean, the other ones like R is quite tricky, but if you know how to do a P, you know how to do a B, you know how to do an R, because they're all made of the same shapes. And there is another video in my playlist about this, which you can watch and pause if you're confused or you're not sure about something. So with an S, the first thing you start with is an O. So you do the outside of the O, then you do the inside of the O. Nice and simple. What you then do is cut the bottom half, or bottom third, and the top third off. And that forms the top of your S, and that forms the bottom of your S. Then you have to join this inside line to the outside line there. So it goes across like this, and this part of the letter is actually called an arm. It goes across one way, and then it goes across the other way. So the outside of this edge is going to the inside of this edge. So it's small loop, big loop, small loop. And then these bits here are the ends of your S. Yeah. I mean, if you can see that, you can probably see that you can probably do an 8 as well in the same way. Oh, last but not least, my hashtag is literally 2 rectangles one way and 2 rectangles the other way. I suppose this method is more related to the way that you might use a pen to draw these. Right, so time to do the outside of the letters now. So remember, I'm not doing these bits that cross over. So you need to take your time on this and make sure you're not doing it. Be methodical about it. Maybe go around in one direction, go clockwise or something like that, but just be methodical. So I'm going to start here, T. There we go. A bit in the middle. Don't do it. Don't look at it. It's not okay. Next bit. I find if you've got a letter that's got a counter in the middle, if you go around the outside first, it helps. Like this. So you've done the outside first, and then it makes the inside a bit easier to do for some reason. S-T-A-Y. With the Y, going to do the top bit first. Second. So again, P, because it's got a counter, I'm going to go around the outside first. And what I've got to remember is that this stick is not a separate stick to this curve. It needs to be all part. So I'm not going to go down that vertical line there, and I'm going to stop there. And again, my counter, it's not a circle, unless that's my design. It is like a miniature D. I like this, the way that the U is sort of overlapping, or the P is overlapping the U, I should say. So I'm going to keep with that. I'm going to go with that. I like that one. P, outside first. And this is an open counter here. U, and the last one T. We've seen that before. Don't do the middle. And the last one with the S, again, because it's a tricky letter, you've got to be careful with it. But what I do is I think actually I'm going to make that a little bit higher. Start with the bottom of the curve and then just follow that around. So inside to outside. And then outside to inside. There we go. Last thing I need to do is my hashtag. Again, I'm going to start with a counter in the inside. Go around. There we go. The last thing, just rub it out and see what's what. I know I'm going back and forth here, but I'm doing it in between my fingers. The rest I shall do in long rubbing strokes. Right, so there we go. 2 methods. The outline method, where you just go around the outside, and then the second method, which is looking more at the structure and the way that the letters are formed, and the bits of the letters and the way they're made up. So to start with, this is your first challenge. Like I say, I've got other videos if you want to have a look at those in this playlist, which will tell you all about how to form your letters if you like this method, or if you want to have a go at this method, or you're not happy with the outline method. And I shall go on to do some more methods of colouring and taking it to the next step after that. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing what you do. If you can send any of your images to your teacher, if you need any help, let them know and they'll let me know. Yeah, good luck.